Chapter 4, Section 1, Making Moral Judgments. The objectives for this video include reading a story about Sandra and Jose that involves a variety of conflicting moral claims. We're then going to begin the process of identifying examples of different normative claims that are in conflict, and have the opportunity to reflect on what action you would take if you were in Sandra's situation and why it is you would take this action. Although she was driving through torrential rains, Sandra Menendez barely noticed the weather. The chaos of water washing down her windshield seemed like nothing compared with the turmoil swirling inside. Sandra, the director of an adult English as a second language program, was returning home from teaching her regular Friday night ESL class. Her favorite student, Jose, had seemed particularly nervous and distracted, and Sandra had asked him after class if everything was okay. At that, Jose had broken down completely. Piecing his story together, Sandra learned that Jose was an illegal immigrant from Honduras who had lived 13 months in the United States. His troubles had started after he had refused to join a street gang that controlled his Honduran hometown. From that time on, he'd been repeatedly threatened, robbed, and beaten. After he had somehow managed to get out and make his way to New York, Jose had met Edgar, a Guatemalan who had come to the United States 2 years ago from a similar background. They'd become friends, pooled their resources, and began working to establish a better life for themselves in the United States. Just a few weeks ago, however, Edgar had been deported back to Guatemala. Then, last night, Jose had heard that Edgar had been murdered by a gang soon after his return. Grief-stricken and terrified, Jose felt he had nowhere to turn. Beside the heart-wrenching emotions this was causing Sandra, it also began to dawn on her that she had a real dilemma on her hands. Because she received government aid for her ESL program, she occasionally had to fill out reporting documents on her students. However, she could hardly imagine reporting Jose as an illegal immigrant. That could lead to Jose's deportation, which she found unthinkable. However, her program funding could be suspended if the government were to determine that she had harbored an illegal immigrant. Nor could she ask Jose to drop the program, for he now needed the friendship and support he found there more than ever. But how could she submit a false report about Jose to the government? That would also put her program at risk. Worse, it would be lying. Despite her turmoil, Sandra felt sure about one thing. It was extremely important that she do the right thing. She just didn't know what it was. Okay, to review, what are some of the conflicting moral claims that came up in the story about Sandra and Jose? What moral realms are each of these conflicting claims from? What would you do if you were in Sandra's situation? And why would you do this?